Humidus Podcast.
Welcome, beautiful listener, to the Humidus Podcast with me, Hamma, and Steph.
Hello there.
Hey, man. How you doing?
I am doing quite great, actually. It's a great time to be a consumer of pop culture.
Yes, indeed. Do you have, anything special in mind?
I mean, there's the Elden Ring leak. It's kind of like a small game. I'm not sure if you've heard about it. It's been a little bit low key by this very small developer called FromSoft. They just recently
I haven't
started.
heard of those.
Yeah.
Never heard of them.
No, apparently they have like two $1,000 laptops that they develop from in their garage.
Yeah, right. Indie titles.
Yeah, beginning like
released.
lower tier indie titles.
Yeah, like bundle games, right? Elden Ring has leaked like a trailer for internal use only. So there has to be some kind of crack that is not, plugged in, and then in the studio.
Yeah, I wonder what that was though, because
I think
wonder.
disgruntled
Could-
employee. Could that be?
Well, I could be, but it could also be. You have all of these complaints that the game has been radio silent for so long, and
Yeah.
There's, I guess there's also some other rumor that there's gonna be like a full reveal later this month in March. But I wonder if that is a function of the leak, or is this all part of a plan that they drip feed a little bit on the
Devious.
low and be like, yeah, here's that. Oh, and then while they're all like, well, some people were like, this looks kind of old and stuff, and then it's like, yeah, but guess what? Plot twist. That's a year-old build. Here's the full reveal. This is what it looks like right now. And then they just like blast expectation. A little bit of market manipulation, a little bit of scheming, little scene cheat tactics from FromSoft.
That might be. So let's talk a little bit about the footage here. What we see. I mean, obviously, the Soulsborne series is their friend.
Yeah.
and this very much looks like in that vein, that dark, gloomy, gritty art style and setting. But it does to me look a little bit more, or it is confirmed that to be more open world. You can see, like, even though Dark Souls and had huge landscapes and stuff,
Yeah.
this seems more like you could traverse it, and kind of ride around or explore it, which is a very good thing.
Yeah, it's not just a background anymore. It's
No.
traversable, yeah. And you could also see, hints of that in the trailer because there were footage of the character riding on horseback, which you wouldn't do if it was, that wouldn't really fit in a typical Dark Souls kind of level layout.
No. Yeah, that's really exciting to me. I mean, just imagine the sprawling, huge world with the gloomy ass, Dark Souls feel.
Yeah, but there was this other thing as well about the aesthetic because yes, it seems like it's going in the dark and gloomy world on the brink kind of feel, but at the same time, it seemed more to me that it leaned towards high fantasy than grimdark this time around. It was a little bit more colors maybe, and a little bit more stuff that reminded me of just I guess adult fantasy rather than or mature fantasy rather than like grimdark such as for example the First Law and those kind of really dark fantasies.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I agree. I mean, it's a lot more colors still, though. It's like in that medieval kind of gloomy, gloomy vein. But
Yeah.
since it's more open, I guess it's harder to kind of keep that mystique also. that Dark Souls absolutely does have. You know, the things you can't completely explore 100% does have that alluring feeling to it. Uh, but I mean, it does seem a little bit more high fantasy. And even having said that, you can see like a lot of FromSoft's stylistic choices that are very familiar here.
Oh yeah, the creature design especially, it just screamed FromSoft in all the best ways.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We also have like mage footage here with what almost looks like a blue mage, you know, from Final Fantasy,
Yeah,
with that like huge curvy hat and like a blue cape, which I really liked. And yeah, I hope that like magic builds will be a really cool treat.
they've always been, in my experience, they've always been pretty viable, right? Like you can get
Yeah,
them to
yeah,
be
for
pretty
sure.
broken by endgame.
Absolutely, you can get them to be really broken. But I mean, in a huge game like this, I feel that Magic has so much potential. You know,
Oh yeah,
you can do like traversal and stuff like that with it.
it, it's a shame not to include it, I feel.
Yeah. And what do you think about like the huge kind of boss-like creatures that we see?
Uh, well, they look intimidating, and
Yeah, for sure.
they look like those kind of the kind of monsters that is eventually gonna make me get close to the brink of wrecking my controller.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
I hope it's hard.
yeah,
Like uh the like if you can grind like I always love to do, you can
yeah,
always kind of mitigate that hardness a little bit. You know, getting, but I hope they design the game so that that is not, and so you don't get like super overpowered. You
yeah.
know, you still have to have that clutch mechanic feel to be able to fully master it. And FromSoft is definitely the right developer to do that. But I mean, it's kind of maybe a little bit harder. I think there was some kind of interview or something mentioning that it wasn't going to be, you know, as it wasn't going to be 100% the combat style of Dark Souls.
Maybe that's for the better, or it'll make it a little bit more accessible. But
Yeah.
I can't help but just imagine when you play this, like your entire playstyle just sounds to me like the plot of a shonen manga.
Yeah, basically
Because it's just
that's
like,
it.
yeah, you just come in there, you show some potential, you wreck a little bit of enemies here and there, and then you meet this like insurmountable, super high tier enemy, and then you just go on that training arc, and there's just a
Mhm.
time skip, and you come back like
Yeah,
40
there's a
levels up.
time skip. Yeah, there's a time skip, like 10 hours
Yeah,
just listening to podcasts and grinding
yeah,
out, you know, singing fucking enemies. And then you come
and then
back
you go,
like Goku style, you know? Like,
yeah, and then it's the tournament
yeah, you
arc
beat
against
me
the bosses.
before.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's basically it. Like powering up to Super Saiyan 11, you know,
yeah, and
kind of
then
growing in monkey tails and blue spiky hair going up everywhere.
yeah, and then it's like the song from the tuning exam arc from Naruto, the Haruka Kanata.
Yeah. Oh, that's so hype. Yeah. Yeah, that's basically me. Or like, yeah, maybe when I feel that from anime, one of the best kind of power up scenes ever for me was actually Rock Lee versus Gara, where Rock Lee kind of opens the first gates.
Ah, yeah, yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
that scene is so powerful, and for me, watching it as a kid, it was just so kind of coming out of left field for me.
Yeah.
I knew that Lee was like powerful and stuff, and when he dropped the weights, it was like, oh my
Yeah.
god, you know. And but then he was defeated and was kind of broken, almost just barely hanging on, you know. And then the turnaround, oh, was so satisfying.
Yeah.
And his face, you know, and the power and like the when he kind of says with Guy's voice in the parallel, you know, time to abide by and protect my way of the ninja,
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of risking it all, you know. Oh, that's so powerful shonen stuff right there.
I know, and that's those are the moments that make shonen worth it, no matter how trashy they are. Like you throw a good pacing of those moments in there, and suddenly like plot doesn't matter that much anymore. It's just like that hype factor and just seeing the cool characters do some badass shit.
Yeah, yeah, well, and the subsequent fight also was so fucking good. But I mean, and the even, which is kind of, I don't know, Kishimoto, it lends creed to him because he even made Rock Lee, you know, lose and lose in a bad way,
Yeah,
which is like, wow, you know, even after that hard power up, you can beat him, you know. That kind of, I feel that that is not typical of shonen. Of course, Rock Lee is not the main character, so
yeah,
that has something to do with it. But I always kind of was a little bit let down by the progression of Rock Lee after that.
yeah. Uh,
You know,
that's like a huge gripe I have with quite a few shonen mangas because they struggle with even if they have a great cast of characters, like even the peripheral characters. A lot of them struggle with giving them the time to shine. After a while, they struggle to juggle them,
yeah,
and that's something I think makes, for example, Fairy Tail had some good
yeah,
moments for everybody, and Bleach had it to some extent, and then it kind of dropped out eventually.
yeah. Because
Dragon Ball is
Bleach
the
was like,
worst, but yeah,
yeah, but I
sorry,
remember like Bleach kind of set up that whole team, you know,
yeah, the
and
captains.
then yeah, like no Ichigo's friends, like
Oh,
early,
oh,
early, early Bleach,
yeah,
and then it kind of dropped that. You know, the they basically weren't able to keep up at all.
no, they had the Krillin and Yamcha syndrome,
Mm.
and it's the same for, but like for Bleach, I guess they realized that the captains were more popular, so they were like, all right,
Yeah, so
let's
they
just
cut.
write them, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying there. But yeah, I mean that Rock Lee moment. I so wanted Rock Lee to be like a huge character. I guess they kind of got that a little with the guy with the
Oh
modern
yeah,
fight.
that was
I mean,
sick.
that was really, really sick. But it's basically the same story as Rock Lee, you know, just times 10.
Yeah,
Even though, I mean, it's really, really powerful. And I love that. I really do love that arc or that kind of conclusion. Even though Guy survives. I mean, it would be perfect if he died. Um, his sacrifice would be so meaningful, you know,
yeah,
even though Naruto just comes and kicks it out his ass. But um, I mean that build up and that reveal of his power, just so fucking it resonates throughout the Naruto community. You know, everybody's like talking about that one time where Itachi kind of kind of acknowledges that Guy comes to rescue Kakashi. Remember that one?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, okay, we'll Kusama will just tail on out of here now. We can't, you know, we shouldn't start a war.
Yeah, but
And that's
even hmm?
yeah,
No, I was just gonna say even Madara
yeah,
himself like just says that guy is like the best taijutsu user, hand to hand
yeah.
fighter
He's
he's ever met.
ever faced. Yeah, yeah. That's powerful. But I so wish that for Rock Lee, like that he also could be one of the kind of great powers.
Yeah,
But yeah, he was like it was okay, but really not anything special.
yeah, he had his moments, I suppose, but yeah,
Yeah,
he was
sure.
also a little bit supplanted by Guy.
Hmm.
There's also this moment in Hunter x Hunter when you get to see the
Yeah.
backstory of President Netero when he goes
Yeah,
up to the
yeah.
mountains.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
And it's such a simple thing too because he's just like, all right, I'm just gonna do like what 10,000 punches. Is that what it is?
Yeah, before
And then
sundown or in a day, basically.
yeah, and then suddenly he's just like, and then he realized after a while he realized the sun hadn't even set, and
Yeah.
then later he just comes down from the mountain. He goes to that dojo. He just like breaks the speed of sound, the sound barrier
Yeah.
with the punch. And,
Yeah.
and
The
the dojo's
dojo
like, all right,
master just he's like be my master.
Yeah.
He basically just kind of lays it down before Netero. Yeah, that's a really really powerful like arc for him, and I love the fight between Miriam and Netero. That's like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
oh, it's so good. It's so good. And it kind of shows how powerful Miriam is. He's basically just a little bruised, even after taking like a billion punches from
yeah.
that giant Buddha statue. But the zero hand, which is like Netero's ultimate attack. But then like Netero just wanted to kind of see if it could kill him, or fight him 1-to-1,
Normally.
and
Mm.
yeah, and had that like nuclear rose mine in implanted in him.
The sick thing was that he technically he was superior, but he just lacked the power to do any damage.
Yeah, yeah, because he got so many one ups on Miriam, which basically just analyzed his movement, which is like fine. He kind of likened it to Go or something,
Yeah.
right? And kind of analyzed a billion different approaches, and slowly but surely he kind of figured out the cracks in the defense. But yeah, I think that fight is just really, really good. I mean, among the absolute best anime fights ever.
Yeah, and Meruem is such a fucking scary unit of a villain as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, perfect villain. I mean, the first time you see him kind of walking about and doing stuff, he doesn't care about anything. He doesn't care about his own subordinates. He doesn't care about anyone. He basically feels almost a little bit like a god.
Yeah.
And his demeanor also is like that. He's like, uh, he compliments Peto when he strikes her because she didn't die,
Yeah.
which is like, it was like a casual strike from his tail, not a real powerful like attack or something, but he intended to kill her with that strike, and he's like, I'm impressed you didn't die.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fucking baller.
Yeah, dude, it's just there's so many things in Hunter x Hunter that breaks the shonen tropes, and
Yeah.
it's all the
Oh,
better for it.
it's such a good anime. Such a good anime. Oh, we could talk about that for days.
Yeah, we should probably do an anime episode at some point because I really want
Yeah.
to introduce you to Jujutsu Kaisen as well because I think you'll love that anime. It has some real subverting tropes and very tasteful storytelling mixed with absolutely excellent animation and excellently choreographed fights with really interesting powers.
Yeah.
It's probably my favorite anime, shonen anime of the last 10 years at least, by far.
Yeah. But
Um,
is that like concluded now?
no, it's 20 episodes in at the time of recording.
Okay, so it's quite new then.
Yeah, but the manga is not gonna go on for too much longer. The
Okay.
author said. So I assume that by the time the anime catches up, it should be about close that they conclude around the same time, such as
Mm.
uh, Full Metal Alchemist did back in the day.
Right, right.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
But
what
what were we actually talking about again? Yeah, that was
Elden Ring.
The Elden Ring. Yeah. Okay, so the Elden Ring. I mean, this is obviously max hype, and like
Yeah,
you said, maybe it is actually like a PR move.
tinfoil
Um,
hat. Put your conspiracy theory on.
but it has already gotten a lot of traction, even though the trailer is like shit quality
Yeah,
recorded from a screen, on like a Nokia from 2005. It says in the description here. So, yeah, it's bad quality, but it's still, you can really see kind of a lot of broad strokes of the direction here.
oh yeah,
And it's really, I mean, for hardcore gamers, I feel that this is one of the most hype games that I've almost ever experienced. Wouldn't you agree? It's really up there, at least.
yeah, for sure. And just the fact that George R. R. Martin is working on the mythos, the overall mythos for Elden Ring as well. It just makes me like, holy balls! I mean,
Yeah, that's like I don't know. When I heard that, I was almost like, "What? What? That's like an April Fool's. Like that can't be true."
yeah.
You know?
But
Oh.
also, it makes perfect sense because what is Martin very good at? Well, he's good at setting up a world where there is, like, you know how you mentioned in Dark Souls, the old Dark Souls games, that you have that um it seems like a big sprawling world with a lot of background that you cannot traverse, but the background gives it a sort of like this mysticism, and it looks
Hmm.
inviting, but you can never go there. Martin has been doing that a lot in it, especially in his Game of Thrones books as well, but with all these like really crazy sounding continents and places that they can never go, but they sound so like, you have Ashai, where
Hmm.
there's like demons and shit apparently
Yeah,
in an
yeah.
otherwise very grounded world. Then you have like the continent where old Valyria, where there's like this
Oh yeah.
super plague, and there's like people don't go there anymore. They try to settle like on the shores, kind of like the new world in Hunter x Hunter.
Hmm. Yeah.
And there's this the Ebony place, and there's like all these kind of really, they sound really interesting, but you always get it just gets mentioned in passing, and then you have the Red Priest with the Fire Lord R'hllor coming from there with like low key magic and stuff, and it's just like, oh man, why can't we just have a POV character go there?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
so it's a perfect match when you think about it, actually, because yeah,
It is. It really is a perfect match, like you said. And like Dark Souls does have a lot of lore.
yeah,
If you kind of dive very deep, there's a lot of lore hidden here and there in item descriptions and stuff like that. Uh, and I feel that that type of storytelling is like perfect. That subtle style, just amp that up a little bit with a little bit more direct, interaction with it,
yeah.
and keeping that allure that you talked about. It's gonna be, whew, yeah, it's so hype. I mean, I have to be careful not to be too overhyped because
I remember
it's
what happened with Cyberpunk.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we still like that, but
Yeah, true. We did.
that is a trap, an age-old gamer's trap to be too overhyped.
I
Mm.
imagine our disappointment if we bought the previous gen version of Cyberpunk instead of current
Yeah,
gen.
that would be bad. That would be really bad.
I would have been probably just like super bummed out.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of like later we've discussed this a lot, but like now that I've seen a lot of reviews and videos talking about that, I feel I'm a little bit more on the side of yeah, it was a scandal because remember we talked about it and I was like, yeah, it wasn't that bad,
Yeah,
but I've seen a little bit more of the videos and the bugs and all that shit, and yeah, it was bad.
yeah, it really was. It's dawned on me as well, and but I'm just glad that I feel sorry for those that had all those horrible bugs for my own sake. I'm just glad that I still got a good experience out of it because I really enjoyed my time with it. I had bearable bugs for the most part, and performance was fine. You know,
Yeah.
um, and it was just something about that mix of soundtrack and gameplay loop, and just like some of the dialogues and characters and V himself
Hmm.
or herself. All of that just clicked for me, and I still listen to the soundtrack on Spotify.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I've actually started listening to it as of late,
Yeah,
and it's such a banger. I mean, some of those tracks are so hype.
yeah,
You almost want to kind of go around, and start running on roofs and stuff,
yeah, yeah,
jumping
yeah. I know
four
exactly
four
what you mean.
meters in the air. It's so fucking hype.
Well, what's your? I guess I asked you this before, maybe, but what's your like go-to radio channel
A radio channel?
on the in the game? Because like you have the different ones,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. I can't remember what the name is, but it's like almost reggae style, you know. Um, oh, what's the name of that? It's kind of got like an Hispanic vibe to it. That's the one that I listen to.
Yeah, yeah. I think I tended to listen mostly to Night FM and Body Heat because Body Heat also I think Body Heat especially had a lot of those songs I felt fit cyberpunk the most.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Such as
Let's
you know you
see.
have the pom pom shit, the Japanese song that's like super dank and really dirty,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah. I mean, yeah, there were so many good stations to listen to. So I kind of cycled between them, but I guess that like reggaeton or whatever station was like my favorite.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in there, man. I actually want to go back to it and play it some more. But then again, the patch got delayed
Delayed.
because of
Yeah,
the
so
hack. And it's just like,
yeah, what was that all about? Like, was it like a coordinated attack or something?
yeah, I mean, I don't know. They gained access and stole the source code and for Witcher and Cyberpunk and Gwent and a lot of other things and sold it on the dark web for millions.
Yeah.
They tried holding it for ransom first, and CD Projekt was like, "Nah, fuck you guys, we're not gonna buckle to that." And then they sold it on the dark web, and now they're just like furiously taking down all the, you know, they're issuing DMCA claims to whenever they see like illegal
Yeah.
versions pop up, and I think that's good. I you know
Yeah.
I wished that they atone and make up for their mistake, but this is not
Yeah,
helping. This is
that's
just slowing down
no,
the whole
no, no.
process.
And it's yeah, it's criminal to do that, So
Yeah,
I mean
it's just a
that's
piece
thug-like
of
to
shit
do.
move. Yeah,
Hmm.
fuck those guys, man.
If yeah, we don't condone that. So we had another trailer for Aliens Fireteam, which is like a successor game, I guess, for the Colonial Marines game,
To some
but
ex,
not in the
yeah,
same vein.
yeah,
Yeah, it's not going to be the same type of gameplay. It's going to be like a PvE shooter, co-op, right?
yeah.
Um,
Kind of Left for Deady, I guess.
yeah,
That
more
same
like Left
vein,
4 Dead.
Vermintide, that sort of
And
game.
that is basically right up your alley, Steph. And Aliens, I mean,
Hey,
come on.
what can I say? All they're lacking now is a good Predator game.
Hmm.
Because the last one that came out was complete dog shit. But this I played Colonial Marines. I remember I went to the old video game shop that was at local mall back in
Hmm.
when the Colonial Marines came out,
Yeah,
and I was going there to buy Dead Space 3 because I think
yeah,
they came out around the same day or within the same couple of days at least.
yeah.
So I went there to old Playcom, that the store was called Lovely Store. I wish it
Hmm.
still existed. And then because they would usually let me buy the games as soon as they had it in stock, provided I didn't bring the receipt and provided that I, didn't play online. And
Yeah,
so it was like kind of like a declaration of trust, you know. And of course I
yeah.
wouldn't play
That's
it
nice.
online. And so I went there and I got Dead Space 3, and they were like, "Oh yeah, and we also got this game because one of them is actually a game journalist or used to be. I don't know if he is anymore, but he was also like he kept bringing up big titles to me, and so he
Hmm.
also like, yeah, we also got Aliens Colonial Marines in. I was like, oh shit, I didn't know that was coming out today, so I bought them both. I went home and I saw that there was like co-op on the game as well on Colonial Marines. So I was like, oh,
Hmm.
let's bring our friend Morbid M over to play some. I think it was Morbid M
Hmm.
I played with. And it was fine. Uh, it was like since we played co-op, it was an okay experience. But then you realize how insanely good the trailer looked,
Hmm.
and then you realize how dog shit and mediocre the game is. Um, and then it just like then you become like, oh, yeah. I mean, this was a decent experience. Maybe not a $60 experience. Maybe like a $10 experience.
Yeah,
Did I hate it? No, but would I have hated it if I played it alone with shit AI? Yeah, probably. And and
yeah,
then all the reviews came pouring in, and I was just like, yeah, I guess you're right. The game was pretty shit.
yeah. Yeah, and I
So
mean, I remember back in the day, like there was this whole. It was basically like a meme.
yeah,
There was like very much backlash against the game. One of the first games that had like a huge community YouTube backlash, and yeah, it was not pretty
no, it was
because
really not. But and it's such a shame because it's once again it's one of those franchises that has enormous potential, right?
yeah, yeah,
And if you look at some of the comics, especially for Predator as well, like the fact that the last time we had a good, like really solid Alien versus Predator game was like back in what, 2000 or
yeah,
99, something like that. You know, it was like
yeah.
an old FPS, which was a great game by the way. But where you know it's a genius premise because you have for that time, right? You had like
Mm,
separate campaigns for the Marine, for Predator, and for
hmm.
Aliens, and they all controlled as you would expect. So you know the Marine
Yeah,
would be kind of like a horror shooter, and
hmm.
sometimes really scary too, because it was always like fucking dark. You'd have to throw out these flares that had a limited supply, and you know aliens could come in any form. The predators were usually so powerful that they would be bosses,
Hmm.
and they could
Yeah,
really mess you up. And then aliens was really unique because you just like you could walk on all surfaces, and you start off as like
yeah,
the chest burster, and you go through the whole metamorphosis. It was really cool. And then you have the Predator, which was just like a power fantasy of like
yeah. Basically,
super
like a space
gore.
marine.
Yeah, it was fucking cool. And you know, they made another game in 2010, which was like, I mean, it had its moments, you know, but
Yeah,
it was still it's just like, uh, guys, you can do so much more with this, and now. And like Colonial Marines also should be like an easy recipe for success, and then they fucked that up royally. And then this game, I just hope it can redeem the Aliens franchise in the eyes of gamers, I guess, so that
yeah, yeah.
it's easy to like continue this as a franchise. Oh, wait, what the fuck am I talking about? You have the Alien Isolation, which was super great. So
Yeah, of course. Yeah, right.
not a
I never
I
played
guess for
that.
shooter games, yeah. But Alien Isolation, if you play it on the right difficulty,
Hmm.
it is super good.
Yeah, yeah, right. I never played that. I mean, the first game you talked about, did that have multiplayer at all?
Yes, I believe so. Because it had that asymmetrical multiplayer where you could also play as each of the three.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I remember like seeing a review or something of that game. It looked like really cool with the alien like kind of crawling through tight spaces and, you know, kind of backstabbing the group of Marines or something,
Yeah,
being a little bit more hunter-esque style.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
it kind of dynamically creates that feel that you want for an alien game,
yeah, it does.
which is which is really original.
So I'd argue that if you can bear with the graphics, it's still worth trying out today just to see like what kind of how ambitious they were for a game that's already 21 years old.
Oh my god, 21. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Um,
That's sick.
and because on Steam it's like $4 right now.
Yeah, I mean that's
The
basically
classic.
a coffee.
Yeah, that's worth it, I'd say. Try if you want to see like a super classic FPS game that kind of was very innovative for its time, then it's worth $4, man.
Yeah, yeah. But what do you think about what kind of hopes you have for Fireteam though?
I hope it's gonna be a very solid, at the very least. I hope it's gonna be a very solid, you know, Dark Tide, Vermintide, that kind of like Left 4 Dead ish co-op shooter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I hope that they nail. But it looks like it's third person from the
Mm-hmm.
trailer. The trailer's a little bit has a little bit of jank here and there, which I assume is just because it's early build. Oh, it's
Yeah,
alpha
I
footage,
saw
right?
that too. Yeah, it's alpha. Yeah, you
Uh,
can't see that a little bit, just a little bit kind of uh janky movements on the models and stuff.
yeah,
But I mean, still like the lighting and stuff looks really good. even in this pre-alpha.
Yeah, I think that I'm gonna follow this game closely because it had some very promising qualities to it, like the quality, the how to say they really brought in that colonial marine. Not I mean in lore, not the game. That kind of aesthetic, the
Yeah, yeah.
hives and the look of it all.
Hmm.
The how the xenomorphs actually, how they moved and what they looked like,
Mm.
all of that. There was some really cool attention to detail there. I felt so, and
Yeah.
just seeing that brute just hulking down the tight corridor and stuff, just like that's the stuff I
Mm.
want to see from this kind of game. Like those kind of really
Yeah.
intense encounters, because that's what it should be.
Oh
It
yeah.
should be so.
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably be a heart stopper. I mean, when you walk up like a tight corridor and kind of turn around and there's this fucking huge alien just bullying down on you, you know?
Yeah, you just feel, you just like sense that the whole corridor is just vibrating.
Mm-hmm.
Like something really hulking and dangerous is just coming down. And I hope it's gonna be better than Space Hulk Deathwing, you know.
Yeah,
But even that
yeah.
game is
We
worth
never got to
playing.
try that like too much. I mean, I did buy that, or did you gift it to me, something like that?
I think I gave you like a 90% off coupon or something.
Yeah, right, right.
And for that
But
price, it's definitely worth it. It has some good things to
yeah,
it. It's not like a terrible game, but it's jank and it's I guess it's for hardcore 40k fans.
yeah. I mean, like also the design of that game is really cool, and they
Yeah,
they get like some things very, very right.
yeah, absolutely.
And it's just so annoying that 40k games never seem to, or very rarely seem to, kind of get that last polish, that
Yeah,
could have made them really great. They have, you can see that the developers have like a passion for this stuff and they want to make it authentic, but it's like it's not getting all the way there.
yeah, it's unfortunately quite the commonplace that happens to 40k. Because what's the great 40k games? It's like Dawn of War 1 and 2.
Hmm.
Um,
Space Marine.
there's Space Marine.
Yeah.
Space Marine is pretty solid, and then what else is there?
There are some like tactics games that are good, but they're also very like the Space Wolf game. Um,
Is that
they're
good though?
kind of, yeah. I mean, it's good for what it is because it's very kind of rudimentary, but the presentation is not that good.
Right.
The if you like very tactically deep games that are not, very impressive to look at, that's a good game, I feel. But I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
that's kind of the same vein as a lot of other 40k games that try um, to kind of fill a niche. But it was also that game that was for mobile or for cellular. What was that? There was also a
Uh,
Space Wolf game. Yeah, you were probably talking about that. Yeah,
yeah, that's the one I
that
was talking
wasn't
about.
that great. Yeah, I was talking about like a much more niche indie game.
Oh, okay. Because
Yeah,
there's um there's also Mechanicus. That game is quite good.
yeah,
It's
right.
also a tactics game. So that game is very solid and was like a very pleasant surprise.
Hmm. I don't
But
ever play that.
yeah, there's also like
Yeah.
this other. There's not a 40k coming out a game coming out, which is like turn-based strategy, turn-based tactics called Battle Sector,
Hmm.
which could be good as well. So I'm hoping that it's an upwards trend. I know that Total War Warhammer is doing really good. I've been playing Warhammer 2 recently with one more friend doing co-op campaigns, and I'm enjoying my time
Oh,
immensely.
that's good. Yeah,
I
that's so
mean,
good.
but yeah, the I'm just hoping that 40k gets the same treatment it deserves.
Yeah, are there any news about like a new Dawn of War at the horizon,
I am
picking
not.
up the pieces
I'm not really
of Dawn of War
sure.
3?
It should be because it's like
It's the best 40k franchise, but I mean, Dawn of War 3 kind of blunted the edge of the blade there a little bit.
Yeah, I think the best version of a Dawn of War game now would be to play the Apocalypse mod for Dawn of War 1.
Yeah, that's getting pretty sick, that mod. I mean, I've seen some videos of that and it looks crazy, but I mean, the engine can't handle, the Titans are kind of getting out of camera, You can't always see the top of them.
Oh, but they fixed it. They
Oh,
made it
they
so you
did.
can, yeah, now you can zoom out like a lot more, so you can actually
Oh,
see the Emperor Titan.
okay. That's such a ridiculous unit to have
Yeah.
in
Uh,
in that type of game. Basically, like a cultist running around, and then you see like an imperator 160 meters above.
of like pure
Uh,
destruction. But now, like
yeah,
all the factions have artillery that can essentially hit across the map, and it's like it's all just
yeah,
blown out of proportions in the right ways.
yeah. I mean, but we do like to see that, and you can kind of see the 40k fans are really, really dedicated fans.
Yeah, I they could have also just fixed Dawn of War 3 and just revamped it, but I guess they just don't see much in terms
Yeah, I
of.
remember there was kind of like some speculation,
Mhm.
but I think they just pulled the plug instead to kind of cut their losses, because it was, such a disastrous release.
Yeah, it's too bad.
It's
It's
very
really
sad. I
too
mean,
bad.
do you remember the trailer for Dawn of War 3 though? That was so hype.
Yeah, with
Oh,
fucking Gabriel Angelos, and he's almost looking as crazy, decked out as Marnius Calgar at this point,
yeah.
and just yeah. Oh, I love my Blood Ravens, but they did not get treated fairly.
No, no, absolutely not. Yeah,
Just
Jesus. But I mean, the next iteration, if there ever comes in a next iteration, I'll happily give all my money.
But what would you like to see though? Because I mean, 1 and 2 they were radically different,
Yeah.
but at the same time, they're both considered good. So like,
Hmm.
what would you like to see in 4 if
Yeah, for
that came
me,
out?
I obviously love both of them in their differences, but I do think that I prefer Dawn of War 1 more.
Mm-hmm.
In like, if I could pick and choose, I would choose that format because that's like the more classical RTS format.
Yeah.
Um, but I did absolutely love the multiplayer of Dawn of War 2. That very, very scrappy, tactical based, kind of setting up squads, fire sectors and stuff like that to cover each other and balance balance your use of power and anti armor, anti infantry. Just beautiful.
And all those
So yeah,
little kill animations
yeah. Oh, just art.
and
How
those
dynamic.
yeah, and just like the fact that you could zoom in and the level of detail for its time was still pretty great, and you could really see them fight and the blood, it was so much blood, and it's just like I just remember when I saw the trailer for that game, which I got on one of those like PC Gaming World magazine demo discs,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like from E3 2003 or something, like way
Yeah.
back, right? And I saw like 40K Dawn of War that trailer, and you see all those kill animations and like all the blood and all the Marines fighting, and I just started painting the models myself at that time, and I was like, what the fuck? This is how it looks like in lore? Just Jesus! I watched
Yeah.
that trailer over and over again, and then you see that like Chaos Champion just like become that demon, that corn demon,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just like, oh man.
Oh yeah, the ground trembles with every step.
Yeah.
That's so fucking hard. I mean, and like the sound design also,
Yeah.
just just beautiful. So
Voice acting was on point for that game. They really
yeah, absolutely.
they need to nail that. And imagine like if you had a Dawn of War 4, it can still be about the Blood Ravens, right? And
Hmm.
Gabriel Angelos and all that. Just like maybe do some retconning. I don't know.
Blood Brothers.
Yeah, but isn't that
Wait,
like that's like Commander Boreal?
yeah,
Is
that's Boreal. I mean, that's so meme worthy.
Soulstorm was such a piece of shit when it comes to writing. It's just like
Yeah.
the Codex Astartes names this maneuver Steel Rain.
It's so good.
And it's just literally just
Uh,
like launching a fuck ton of drop pods down, and then they just like, oh, I accidentally lost 1 million legionaries due
yeah.
to some kind of bullshit. It's just like, oh, are you
Mm.
serious?
Yeah. But I mean, it's such a meme. I think that the like over the top voice acting is such a good move for Dawn of War. Maybe not for like Angelos, of course, but I mean the units have so much flair and soul from the 40k verse.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And just you can't just yeah, just have to be impressed. Like every faction feels unique and very distinct in their worship of the Emperor or Chaos Gods or Gork and Mork, of course. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I think luckily, a lot of the developers for that have the license for Warhammer, be it fantasy or 40k, they seem to really understand that having the proper voice actors and stuff is really important. Like for example, Vermintide as well. The
yeah,
voice actors there, oh, it's so good. It's so on point.
hmm, yeah,
Just even Barden, the Gorek son, like the token tanky dwarf character.
yeah,
Uh, it's like so easy for him to just become like this, Gimli clone, right?
yeah,
But
yeah,
then,
Gimli.
but he's not. He's like if Gimli had a shit ton more battle lust and just like testosterone levels doubled.
Hmm.
That's Barden,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's just like laughing as their feeble blows just like they just bounce off his unbreakable armor and shit, and he's just like pounding the armor while they're attacking him and stuff. It's just like, oh,
Yeah,
I love that.
I, yeah. I feel that the Warhammer in general is like such a great kind of setting for games. So we'll just have to hope for another Dawn of War.
Yeah, yeah, true. Uh, I also hope for Dawn of War 1 esque, or even Total War Warhammer 40k. What about that? I think that could be sick too.
That could be absolutely sick. I mean, it would be a little bit harder, but still, it would be amazing if they could pull that off.
Yeah,
I mean, there are a lot of melee in 40k, so
there is.
could
Yeah,
absolutely be doable.
but also just like you could do stuff like introduce cover systems and things like that for the ranged units. And I mean, most of the
Yeah.
melee units they can take quite a few hits regardless. So I guess it would
Hmm.
be more leaning on, yeah, it would be a higher focus on range. But I'm sure that